Congratulations on your posting to Cyprus. I hope you have a most successful and enjoyable tour. The purpose of this video is to give you certain information so you can prepare yourself and your family well in advance. Now, obviously it's not possible on a short film like this to cover all aspects of life and work here. If when you've seen it you still have some questions, you should contact your general office. The first point I would wish to make is that Cyprus is a fully integrated Army and Royal Air Force command. You will come across a number of Army personnel during your time here, and indeed may find yourself working alongside them in a joint service unit. You or your family may find Cyprus a little strange to start with, but the Cypriots are warm and friendly people, and there are a number of welfare organisations whose aim is to help you settle in as quickly as possible. Let's now see what you can expect in a little more detail, with some examples of everyday life here in Cyprus.
Welcome to Cyprus. I'm John Knighton, and this is the main air terminal at RAF Acrotery. It's about 1:30 on a typical Thursday lunchtime, and the weekly trooper flight with 250 people has just arrived from Brize Norton. People will be here on a short visit, but for the majority, ahead lies a 3-year tour in sunny Cyprus. We're going to take a look at how a tour in Cyprus will affect the lives of service personnel, and we'll be taking a glimpse of what's in store for you, whether you're married or single. Let's begin then by taking a look at where Cyprus is on the map. As you'll know by now, it's an island at the eastern end of the Mediterranean. Its position between Turkey and Egypt, and not far from Syria, Lebanon and Israel, means that the island of Cyprus enjoys hot Mediterranean summers. In the winter, the altitude of the Troodos Range, coupled with the cold easterly winds, can produce almost Arctic conditions. Its proximity to the Middle East means that Cyprus is in the midst of a politically volatile climate too. There are 2 sovereign base areas in Cyprus, which are areas of British territory under the Treaty of Establishment. In the western sovereign base area are Acrotery and Episcopi. 70 miles east, in the eastern sovereign base area, Decalia and Ias Nikolaos. 280 Signals Unit personnel may work at Mount Olympus, one of the so-called retain sites outside the sovereign base areas. One of the first things you'll notice if you come out to Cyprus between the months of April and October is the heat. For 6 months of the year it hardly ever rains, and the temperature never usually drops below 30 degrees Celsius. But don't worry, there's plenty of fresh water here, from reservoirs like the one behind me. In this heat, dehydration can be a problem. It's recommended that you consume up to 8 pints of water a day, more if you're involved in strenuous activity. And that applies to jogging too. There are many examples of fit athletes overdoing it in the heat. Make yourself aware of the symptoms of dehydration and how to avoid it. Alcoholic drinks may feel refreshing, but they only add to the dehydration effect of the heat. So make sure you take in plenty of soft drinks or water for your own sake. An important thing to bear in mind when you're drinking is that Cypriot bottles hold over a pint of beer. A couple of these down the hatch and you've drunk the equivalent of 2.5 pints of strong lager, so be careful. Local beer and duty-free drinks are very cheap too, making them a great temptation. There are just 2 permanent operational squadrons here at RAF Acrotery. The first is 84 Squadron, whose Wessex helicopters provide search and rescue cover 24 hours a day, 52 weeks a year. The The other resident squadron, 34 Squadron RAF Regiment, have regular patrols, keeping a round-the-clock watch along the perimeter of the station. Much of the work at Akrotiri involves support to the visiting squadrons from the United Kingdom. The months of March to October are the busiest, when the clear skies and dry, stable atmosphere give the APC detachments the perfect conditions to practice manoeuvres and test equipment ready for their primary role in the UK. The Red Arrows, too, fly in each spring to work up prior to their long display season back home. If you don't go to Akrotiri, then you'll be stationed at one of the several signal units. 12 SU is near Episcopi in the Western Sovereign Base area. 33 SU is at Ias Nikolaos in the Eastern Sovereign Base area. And 280 SU is situated on the summit of Mount Olympus in Troodos. The remaining postings are to Headquarters British Forces Cyprus, which is situated at Episcopi, and the United Nations in Nicosia. There are many joint service units in Cyprus, so you could well find yourself working alongside someone in a different coloured uniform. I'm standing at the middle of Berengaria. This is where a lot of forces families come at the beginning of their tour for perhaps 2 or 3 months, while they're waiting for their more permanent home nearer to their unit. They may not look much, but they are comfortable. Berengaria, or BG as it's known, is very much a self-contained village, with its own shops. It also has its own recreational facilities, like this swimming pool, right on its doorstep. Single personnel are accommodated in conventional barrack blocks on the various stations. This is a married quarter area at Akrotiri. It's where most of you will spend your tour. The quarters are for RAF or Army personnel alike, so your next-door neighbour could easily be a Lance Corporal or a Sergeant Major. But everyone soon mixes in, and after a while you tend to forget that there are different services working together. At Episcopi, you may be lucky enough to have a room with a view over the Mediterranean. The married quarters are very spacious, and for those of you with green fingers, the climate is ideal for growing exotic plants and flowers. In winter, though, it can get very cold, well below freezing point if you're in the Troodos area. Houses don't have central heating and double glazing, and the wood-built bungalows can be particularly drafty in the winter months. You'd do well to bring some warm clothing, and a new chore will be to carry those gas bottles in for the cooker. Some personnel live amongst the local community in houses known as hirings, like these in Platres. For those of you who may have to live in a local hiring, the culture shock of living in a foreign country with strange writing may seem daunting at first. However, you'll find that most Cypriots speak at least a little English and are always friendly towards the British.
That's like Demi the fireman, isn't it?
If you have school-aged children, then a tour of Cyprus should present few problems. This is Akrotiri Primary School, one of several feeders for the 2 main secondary schools at Episcopi and Decalia. Over at St John's School in Episcopi, children are taken from primary age through to secondary school. In the sunny climate of Cyprus, children thrive on the outdoor activities available at school. Children in Cyprus can go right through to A-levels, though because of the smaller size of the sixth form, the full range of A-level options may not be as wide as those available in larger UK schools. It's worth a word with your education officer before deciding on your child's education. A shortage of jobs on the local market may lead to difficulties for both school leavers and wives of servicemen. For the school leavers, the MOD has set up its own youth training centre, which teaches in both clerical and technical subjects. There's also the opportunity to take city and guilds exams in subjects like electrics and mechanical engineering.
Is it the same way round as what's on the screen?
45 days annual leave, 1 48-hour pass and 3 travel warrants left.
A more serious problem may be trying to find employment for your spouse, especially if she or he has left a good job in the UK. Almost all jobs, by law, are taken by local Cypriots, which leaves only a few clerical or educational jobs, which are often run on a job share basis. Pay can be poor compared with the UK rates. Some of the wives work in the local playgroups and creches, which run on most bases, operating 5 mornings a week. The preschool group at Acrotere is a large, well-run organisation. One of the first things you'll notice about living in Cyprus is the way things are organised to help you.
Brought this for you, Anne. It just gives a list of the facilities available on the base. Tells you about the shopping. The NAFI is the
The Good Neighbour scheme sees that you'll get immediate help and advice from neighbours to settle in. Each station has a hive, which stands for help, information, volunteer and exchange.
This is the main shopping area of Limassol, where you'll find most of the things that you're likely to need while you're here.
Primarily, it's a centre that will provide you with all the advice you need about living in Cyprus. You'll find maps of towns, where the creche is, when the Wives Club meets. Some even run toy libraries.
Off we go then, let's go and give it to the lady.
And it's great fun helping run a fete to raise money. Wherever you're posted, there'll be shopping facilities either on station or in the local town. There's the familiar NAFI, of course. And further afield, Nicosia and Limassol offer excellent shopping facilities. Episcopi Shopping Centre is affectionately called Dodge City by the locals. Fruit and vegetables are extremely cheap when in season. Although when the season is over, don't expect to find any imported fruit on the counter at equally cheap prices. Clothes, leather goods and shoes are also very cheap. And you can buy some duty-free bargains in the electrical shops.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How much is the stereo?
Are you a serviceman, sir?
But it's certainly worth bringing any existing electrical items like fridges, freezers and sewing machines, since they can be more expensive. For those wishing to pursue academic studies or hobbies, the education centres boast a whole range of evening classes. On the academic side, there are many GCSE classes, RSA, word processing courses, and the varied OU foundation courses.
So once you've black-levelled the tape...
Hobby classes include copper beating, flower arranging, and ballroom dancing, not forgetting the very popular language classes. There are plenty of other things to get involved with as well on the station. The larger bases have cinemas showing recent movies, families clubs provide evening entertainment, and the open-air swimming pool at Acrotere is a superb facility for service people to